First, get involved in enjoyable, healthy activities where other women are present. Duh. But sometimes we're just like, I don't know, I can't. Well, are you doing something? Are you getting out?
What would be a good suggestion?
Well, you can get involved at your church, whatever your church is. You can start serving at your church because you'll probably start rubbing elbows with other women who are serving at the church. You can go to a gym. You can join a hiking club. There are moms groups if you have young kids. There are classes galore that you could take at the technical college or whatever, where you can just start meeting people. But one of the best ways is by serving. Serving anywhere. I mean, there are so many programs around that are Christian programs and non-Christian programs. I don't care if it's the Boys and Girls Club or if it's, I don't know, being an usher at your church or whatever. You're going to meet people by serving. And if you're serving in a ministry kind of setting, you're going to be meeting, theoretically, I would like to think, other Christian women. And so that's a great place to start widening your network, right? I mean, the fact that you're coming to this, you've met women. It's not rocket science. Okay, next, be willing to put effort into developing a deep friendship. And this was my stumbling block, honestly, for a long time, because I thought friendships just sort of happened. I was waiting for a friendship to just drop into my lap. But apparently, you have to work at these things. And you have to be willing to put in time and energy and effort into making a really good friendship. And so this is, again, you have to be intentional. So much about life, so much about what we've learned here is about being intentional, whether it's your marriage or parenting, it's being intentional, deciding, I'm going to put effort into doing this. Just like your marriage takes effort to make it thrive, I always thought that just happened too. It just happens. I got the person at the altar, we're married. There, it's all done. I got him. Well, apparently there's more to the story. We have to kind of keep working at this to make it thrive. Same thing for a friendship. Okay, next, stop being so serious and work at having fun, laughing, and being cheerful. Because really, who would you rather hang with? Seriously, who would you rather hang with? The person who's just like moping, Eeyore, the glasses half empty, life sucks, or they're just really serious all the time. I mean, do you really want to hang with those people? Now, there are moments where we're all, supposed to be serious, and there are moments where we've gone through something that's, a real grief kind of thing, and so obviously there is a place for grieving, and so I'm not saying you should be falsely cheerful all the time. But why don't we maybe stop being so serious all the time and lighten it up a little bit and have some fun and maybe smile occasionally? Just a thought. Next, how about this amazing idea? Pray for God to direct you to women who would make great friends. Sometimes we miss the obvious, don't we? I believe God would love to answer that prayer for you. And honestly, if you were to just take a few moments in the morning or even tonight or whatever and just say, Lord, can you just put a woman's face in my mind that I've bumped into maybe at work, in this group, at church, at some, whatever, the school that my kids go to or whatever. Can you put this lady's face in my mind? I'm sure he would do that for you. And maybe that's a good place to start and see, is this someone that I could develop a great friendship? Another non-rocket science idea. Invite a woman to coffee or tea at your house or at a coffee shop and ask her about herself. And this took me a long time to get to because, again, apparently I was not naturally born knowing how to do this, so I had to learn. When you take a genuine interest in the other person and ask them about themselves, they love that. And they like to talk to you. And they want to be with you again and see you again. And I mean, it's like not rocket science, but you know that when someone seems genuinely, not just pretending, but genuinely interested in you, they might remember your name, they might remember your husband's name, they might remember that you have 5 children or 1 child or whatever. You're kind of like, wow, it makes you feel important and valued. And so take an interest in the other person, ask them to tell them, ask them questions like, like even if it's at your table, you could say, so, tell me a little bit about yourself. Do you work outside the home? Where? Well, how did you get that job? You could just start asking question after question. I've done this with a few ladies in the recent years that I've established friendships with, and we spent the whole like hour and a half talking about them, and I didn't say really anything about me. But the next time I did, so it's not all one-sided. But you know what? They enjoyed my company because I was interested in them. Not rocket science, but a huge principle. The next one really is pretty much the same. Be a good friend by being a great listener. Proverbs 18:13, to answer before listening, that is folly and shame. And then James 1:19, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak. Which means don't dominate the discussion, talking only about yourself. And also, I would like to say, don't vomit your emotional baggage all over the other person. If you're just making friends with them for the first time, don't just like every skeleton in your closet and all of your neediness and because you probably will never spend any time with them again. I mean, it's just like too much for the first encounter, right? So, just kind of go slow. We can have lots of casual friends, right, or acquaintances or whatever you want to call them. But we have to have a few really deep friendships, and for those we need to be choosy. I think that's the line, the blank in your outline. We need to be very choosy for those few deep, deep friendships. Oops. Proverbs 12:26 says, the righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. I mean, we're supposed to choose our friends carefully. So here are some guidelines that came to mind. Make sure they are seeking to honor and obey God, or they will draw you away from God, believe it or not. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, bad company corrupts good character. And it is true, right? So the people that you're hanging with as your really good friends, you will be influenced by them. You might think, oh, I'm going to be a witness to them. And how many young ladies have said that to the bad boy that they're dating? It's like, oh, I'm going to change him and I'm going to be the witness. I'm going to bring him to Christ. And they end up going his direction, right? That happens all the time. And it can happen in friendships too. If you're hanging out with people that are making bad decisions, it will slowly, more than likely, influence you to start heading that direction or start to rationalize or, well, it's not that bad. So you got to pick it. You got to pick your friends wisely. Pick friends. Again, these are the deep friendships. You can have casual acquaintances and such that are not maybe necessarily following God. We need to be friends with the world in the sense that we need to be a light to them, so we need to be around them. I'm not saying we should seclude ourselves and just stay in a church building all day long. But for those deep friendships, we have to be careful to find women who really are serious about obeying God.